Hey everyone, welcome to Movie Marathons HQ, where we do movie marathons connected to new releases and where we enjoy and review some of our favorite movies. This video is part of the Avengers Doomsday Movie Marathon, where we are watching one movie every week as we prepare for the release of Avengers Doomsday in December 2026. Today we're discussing Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Released in 2014 and directed by Joe and Anthony Russo, this is Captain America's second adventure, but his first set in the modern day, since the first Avenger was a period piece. For positives, I would highlight the intensity of this movie. It's intense pretty much from beginning to end. The score by Henry Jackman, which has some really great parts to it. The character work and the character team-ups, whether it's Black Widow or Nick Fury or the introduction of Falcon, a lot of the characters work really well together. The sound design, which is a positive I haven't mentioned before in this marathon, I believe, but there's some great sound design in this movie that I want to talk about. And then the action scenes, from the pirate vessel at the beginning to the elevator fight, the highway chase scene, the fight with Bucky at the end, Nick Fury's chase scene. There's just a lot of action, which is, like I said, which raises the bar on action scenes in the MCU. And for negatives, I have nothing. There's nothing negative I have to say about this movie. Spoiler alert for Captain America: The Winter Soldier. So first is the intensity of this movie. This movie is just intense from beginning to end, and it works for the story. There's lots of fun and lots of activity and lots of things going on in this movie, but it's really intense, and the subject matter is intense. We're dealing with the corruption of S.H.I.E.L.D. and intrigue and things not seeming to be what they really are. So it is an intense movie, but that just serves it so well. Other movies, like Guardians of the Galaxy that we talked about last week, wouldn't work to be so intense from beginning to end. But this movie and the genre of kind of political thriller and intrigue does work. So I think the intensity is a positive. The score is another positive for this movie. It's done by Henry Jackman, who has done some other great work in the past. But in this movie, there's a few moments that really stand out for me from the score. There's the scene where Nick Fury is being chased by all the corrupt S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, and the score just kicks into overdrive, pun intended. It's really loud, really strong, and really fast-paced, and builds the emotion of what's happening, and Nick Fury is being chased, and the music makes you feel like you are being pursued, which is how Nick Fury feels. So that's a really great moment. There's the highway chase scene, which is also later on when we've been introduced to the Winter Soldier, and there's lots of big fight and action sequences. The music kicks in and is really strong there, and really paints the emotion of the story, especially Cap confronting the Winter Soldier and the revelations that come through with the music. And then bringing back the Captain America score from the first Avenger into this movie, I think works really well, but it's a very distinct score than the period piece one that they had in the first movie. So it's a really great score that I think would be a positive. Another positive are all the character interactions. So in this movie, we have Steve Rogers, played by Chris Evans, and he's acclimatizing to modern life. He's had his first movie, he's been with the Avengers, and now he's trying to function as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. And he's paired up with Black Widow, played by Scarlett Johansson, and the two of them do really well. The actors themselves are great friends in real life, and so they've got some great chemistry and banter. But these two characters, who are almost different ends of the morality spectrum, and so them being stuck together and forced to work together, it has some really interesting moments. And we get Nick Fury and Maria Hill, who are unraveling this S.H.I.E.L.D. mystery, Hydra mystery at the same time. And both of them do a great job. Samuel L. Jackson and Kobe Smulders, back from the Avengers. They fit this movie really well. And then we get introduced to Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, as the Falcon. I think he works. He's got a lot of charisma, and it makes sense that he would want to be the sidekick. He even jokes that he does everything the Cap does, just slower. He wants to be the sidekick. At this point in the character's journey, he wants to just support what Captain America does. I think he's good. And then we get Robert Redford as Alexander Pierce, and my goodness, he's powerful. Such a masterclass in acting. as the high up guy in Shield, who turns out to be a double crosser for Hydra. He just seems morally ambiguous, and it seems like he's had a career and lots of story that would just be so interesting to explore. But he does a great job. So everything that they do with Chris Evans, he's not outshone by anybody. It's still his movie, but all the character interactions he has really elevate this movie. Now I want to talk about the sound design of this movie. So sound design is, according to the Oscars, what they mean by sound effects. And sure, every movie has sound effects, but there are some in this movie that just sound so good that I want to highlight them. It's mostly in the fight scenes. There's a fight scene where we get introduced to the Winter Soldier who's got a metal arm, and he does these kind of like arm rotation things, and it just has this whirring, mechanical, but also otherworldly sound to it, which is great. There's a scene where he punches Captain America's vibranium shield, and the sound effect right there is so good, from this metal arm to this metal vibration absorbing indestructible shield is just beautiful. There's some other sound effects where Cap is again holding his shield and he's hiding behind it as one of the bad guys is shooting with a minigun, and as Cap comes closer to the stream of bullets, the sound design changes because I don't know the terms, but the pitch of the bullets ricocheting changes because the distance between the shield and the bullet, or the stream of bullets, changes. So I think it's beautiful there. There's also, in Nick Fury's car chase, there's lots of really good sound effects as they're crashing and spinning and driving and screeching their wheels and all these kind of things. And then the one I like also a lot is the first time that Steve is chasing the Winter Soldier and he's crashing through all those doors and crashing through the wall. There's such great sound effects there. He throws his shield, Winter Soldier catches it with one hand, and this reverberation rings out so loud. And then he throws the shield back at Cap. Cap catches it, but it pushes him back because he threw it so hard, and his feet scraping across the gravel just stands out right in your mind. So I really love the sound design in this movie. And then finally, the action scenes. These are the best action scenes the MCU had seen to this point, whether we're talking about the beginning where Cap is on the pirate vessel beating up the bad guys and he's zipping around and he fights Batroc the Leaper, played by Georges St. Pierre, which is just a fun, great fight scene. Then to the elevator scene where he's stuck in the elevator and all these Hydra guys keep getting in there and he has to take them all on in this compressed, claustrophobic setting is so really well done. There's the highway fight when they're on the road and they hop down and they're chasing each other, and Black Widow's there and Winter Soldier's there and he's kicking butt. The whole action scene there is really good. And then at the end, the fight with Bucky, where there's personal stakes and he knows who he is and he decides Cap decides he's not gonna fight Bucky, and Bucky doesn't remember him, but he does remember him. So there's emotional stakes as they fight, but they have this great fight scene on these helicarriers that are rigged to come down and crash so they can stop Project Insight. Just great action scenes all around in this movie. Now, how might Captain America the Winter Soldier connect to Avengers Doomsday? Well, Steve Rogers in this timeline is an old man, so he's not likely to return, and he wasn't on the original cast list announcement, but it has since been revealed that Chris Evans and Captain America will return. So I don't know how that's going to be, whether it's a different time-traveling version or he's a different variant of the character, but he will be in Doomsday in some version. Sam Wilson will return. He will be in Doomsday. He has now assumed the mantle of Captain America. Black Widow is deceased. She didn't make it through Endgame, so we won't see her. Nick Fury is kind of questionable because he did fake his death, but he's alive, but he's also been portrayed by Skrulls before, so I don't think he'll be in Doomsday, but it's possible. And then the Winter Soldier has kind of reformed, and he's now in the Thunderbolts, so he will also be in Doomsday. So that's my review of Captain America the Winter Soldier. What do you think of this movie, and how do you think it might connect to Avengers Doomsday? Make sure to let me know in the comments below. Follow Movie Marathons HQ on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and also on Letterboxd, where you can see all of the movie marathons we've got going on right now. The next movie in this marathon is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. See you at the movies.